Welcome to the DMF. I am your host, Justin Yance, and today is part 5 of my interview with Adam Franklin. He is the president and creative director at Creative Chops Studios, and he has also worked on motion graphics for the films like The Fighter and Iron Man 2, as well as Winter's Bone. Enjoy. All right, so this is great. Where do you see, you've kind of talked about this already, but where do you see the future?
Very excited for the future. If you're not, then you're very scared of the future, is the way I look at it at this stage in life. With everything coming down the pipe technologically, and so much of the the way that we're changing as a culture, and that we're changing in how we take our media and our entertainment in versus even 10 or 15 or 20 years ago, I find myself fighting a old man mentality, because I think everybody in their different place, is very we romanticize the way things were in so many ways, and the idea that what I experienced as a kid, my kids won't be able to experience, because it just doesn't exist anymore when it comes to walking into a store to get a VHS and being able to see all those titles and things like that, or whatever, right? So I mean, there's a lot of things we can talk about it forever, but there's so many of those things that I romanticize, and a big part of me is sad about. And then it's easy to throw shade on the future because it's gone and it'll never be again, right? And these were the good old days. But the other side of the coin is that there has never been a time ever where you have such great access to equipment, great access to professional everything that you never could access when I was a kid. And then you also have access to actual audiences. They may be broken off a bit more, it may be more niche, it may be whatever, and there are a lot more eyeballs out there, but you've never had this type of access ever. And so the potential is amazing there. And then the other side, I got to touch on it for a second, is AI, because the debate over AI is amazing. And I got to be honest, I was in mourning for like 3 months after I used Chat GPT. Like, I was like, it's coming for all of us, and it's already here, and I wasn't ready for it yet, right? Like, I always thought it was like, 5 years away, that kind of thing, right? But the
Yeah.
the depressed side of me, can go into that depression and worry about that. But then the other side of me is like, what a golden opportunity that we get to be in this stage of humanity, that we get to be the ones who figure out the uses for this stuff.
Yeah.
And how in the world will it take, like, we are the pioneers in this time frame. And I'll just take it from a filmmaking standpoint. We are the pioneers that actually have a tool in our tool belt that has never been seen before when it comes to how we can use it. And there'll be plenty of people who are going to make a quick buck and are going to have AI do everything for them and whatever. But I think there's so many other ways where it can actually expand and make film better if we, the drivers, are able to utilize it and make sure that we go that route with it. So it's up to us when it comes to the output and what ends up happening with it. So I'm very excited for the future as a whole, just as an industry and things like that.
I think what it's going to give us is the ability of anything you can think of, you can do. If we
Absolutely.
look at it from that point of view, you know.
Absolutely. I mean, the idea that it's not far fetched that in a few years you can sit down with Netflix or whatever, and you can say, I want to watch a horror movie with Brad Pitt and Robert Redford. And it'll automatically and I want this in it, and I want this in it, and da. And then it's going to automatically generate it, and then we'll see it. I don't think that's crazy far fetched of where it probably is going to go. But at the same time, I think there's always a human element that we as humans will be attracted to. I think there's going to be a renaissance in a way of, because everything's a pendulum, right? In my mind, everything's a pendulum. When we swing too far one way, fill in the blank, whatever it is, we have a tendency to always go back the other way and go a little too far that way, and vice versa. And I do believe there is going to be a renaissance when it comes to people wanting real people experiences. And I think social media, because it was real people, swung that pendulum a ton, but not far enough. But when you start hopping on social media and you can't tell the difference if it's a human or not talking to you or whatever, right? And it all just
Yeah.
becomes homogenized into this crazy amount of uh, just goo. I think there
Yeah.
will be this renaissance where we come back to a need to have real relationships with real human beings in person, because that may be the only way that we can tell if something's real in
Yeah.
our lifetime. So,
Yeah. No, I mean, you see that on Instagram, there's be like, is this a real person or is this a bot? Is this,
yeah.
am I talking to, it still astounds me, I look at how far, media and technology has come and I don't know, there's a lot of beneficial things. And then, like you said, there's a lot of, we don't want to lose the human touch. We
Mm.
want to remember that these are all tools, not replacements. And I think that's the fear a lot of people have, is that, we're just going to replace it. And it's like, yeah, can AI create a new script? Yes, but it's also going to be based off of all the scripts that have come before.
Right.
Can it actually create something completely new that we've never seen before? Can AI do that? I mean, I don't know. Maybe it can. And ooh, that's kind of scary world we're living in, because then it's like, are we not even smart enough to realize that the machine is smarter than us? And and then are we in that world where it's like we're already being controlled and we don't even know that we're being controlled? And that's a scary time to be in.
Yeah. Sounds like the plot to a good movie.
Sounds like the good movie, yeah. Where you're just like, the scary thing is the movie's real.
That's right. That's right.
I mean, there's philosophers that have believed that, we've
Mhm.
already been controlled and we didn't even realize it. And it's like,
Mhm.
oh my God, it's kind of scary. But anyways, do you have a beginning of the day routine?
Oh,
Switching gears here.
yeah. Beginning of the day routine. Let's see. It depends on which day. A lot of times it has to do with getting kids ready for school. If I'm not getting the kids ready for school, that means I'm usually doing the later part. So for me, it is doing something that is not creative, honestly, because I find that as a creative, I have a little bit of this scatterbrain thing that happens.
Yeah.
And so as I go later into the day, I may get a little more creative, but I'm not as focused. And so I've learned a whole lot about using the beginning of the day to do the mundane that I don't enjoy as a creative, but as a
Mhm.
business owner and as a businessman, I need to take care of that stuff. So I usually start my day very boring, meaning I'm checking off all of the stuff that takes more mental capacity.
Yeah.
And then I started intermittent fasting probably about 5 or 6 years ago, and it actually stuck for me. It's good for me. So
Yeah.
for me, I just go black coffee and like 3 or 4 of these of water during the day, and then usually
Yeah.
hit that up later. So no big breakfast or anything like that. But yeah, that's
So do you eat like in a 6 hour increment or an 8 hour increment? What do you
yeah,
do?
usually. I mean, when it comes to this, our schedules are always so hit or miss. But on a
Yeah.
normal day, yeah, I'll start firing off some food around like 4, and then depending on what time we eat at night, sometimes 4 to 8, 4 to 10. I
Cool.
like to do like the layer thing. I love a big meal. I don't,
Yeah. Same here.
yeah, I've done the grazing thing. I've done the whole 6 meals a day and all that kind of
Yeah. It's
stuff, and
not fun.
it's not for me.
It's not, and
It's not for me.
that's my biggest problem with like the fitness industry. They'll come on to a trend and then be like, no, this is the only way to do it. And it's like, as soon as you hear that word, the
Yeah,
only way, run.
yeah,
There's just no, because there is no only one way. They're like, well, this is like, says who? It's the same amount of calories. I mean,
right.
yes, maybe there is one beneficial thing, but I mean, at the end of the days, it is still calories in, calories out
Yeah,
at some point. Now we can get into the specifics of the calories, but it's like, yeah, if you prefer doing, a big meal like I do, it's like, why cheat that just so you can be like, no, I gotta do 6 meals a day, you know?
yeah, exactly,
So like,
exactly.
it's it's lunacy. Do you have a nighttime routine?
My night times, I've tried to pull back. So my old nighttime routine was working until the wee hours of the morn, and sneaking
Like,
into my bed and not waking up my beautiful wife. So
yeah, no,
uh yeah,
yeah,
as of
that's
late,
something you don't want to do. Yeah,
no, no.
that's not a good
The
idea. Why'd
rollover
you
and
wake
look at the alarm
me up?
clock like, are you kidding me? But no,
Yeah,
as of lately, I've been trying to get a lot more balance in my life. I realize that, that's a young man's game. And also the
yeah,
idea that, I've proven a whole lot in my life that I've had to let myself catch up to.
yeah,
Because when you're in the thick of it, you have the same mentality, especially if you're a crazy hard worker and passionate and all that
yeah.
kind of stuff. So that doesn't mean take the foot off the gas so that you can just waste away or anything like that. But I do believe it means stopping to smell the roses a little bit more and getting an idea that,
Stop and have a
okay,
boundary. The sleep is important
absolutely.
in order to think. That's
Yep.
something I kind of is. I'm a late night owl, and it's just like got to wind down, and it's for me, it's like putting on the glasses that cover up the blue lights or whatever, and
Right.
dimming the lights and letting that just, slowly take you in,
Yeah. Yeah. And I
it's
think too that, for me, it'd be an interesting question to ask people, but like what's the worst emotion that you can imagine, like for you personally? And for me, it's always been regret. That is always the worst emotion I can imagine. And so for me personally, I'm realizing more and more. Somebody told me this a while back and said, you only have 18 summers with your kids before they're adults, kind of thing. And then if you really think about it, you have a lot less than that. And
so
so,
scary. Yeah, if you
yeah,
look at that, yeah,
if you really think about like, oh, these, how much time you have, and how fast time flies, right? And so it's
yeah,
like, and it speeds up as you get older. And so for me, I've really took my foot off the gas a bit just to fully enjoy this time because my
yeah,
kids,
especially with your kids. Yeah,
yeah,
because
yeah,
they're not,
in this
they
time
don't stay that
frame,
way.
nope, nope. And so in this time frame, however they are, like I want to be able to be totally involved and remember all these times. And I can work years from now.
Bill Gates said that. Yeah, at one of the commencement ceremonies, he says he wishes he didn't realize that all there was work.
Oh
Is
wow.
it's like, so it's important. I think that's one of the things that a good thing that AI might do is get rid of the work mentality, because I think we're all
Hmm.
like kind of addicted to that. But it's like, but do you want to miss your whole life just for work?
Right.
It's like, at the end of the day, the things that you're going to remember are going to be family, friends, love. Those things are going to be, laughing, being
Absolutely.
happy, not, it's good to do that. But yeah, it's got to be compartmentalized, I think. And
Absolutely.
I think slowly as a society, we're realizing that
Hmm.
it's like that we can't just keep doing it. And you bring up a good point. It's like, yeah, you don't want to be like, taking regret and be like, I wish I spent more time with my kids, It's like most people think just regret and they're just like, well, I should have done this. It's like, but what about that? You know?
Right.
You know?
Right.
It's scary. Somebody said like how many days you actually live in a lifetime, and it's kind of scary. I can't like sit there and think about that. I'll just go mad and be like, oh my God, I'm wasting time.
That's right.
How
That's
much more
right.
time do I have? It'd be like just put a giant counter clock and be like, this is how many days you have left.
Yeah. And that's it. That's if you're one of the lucky ones that hit the average.
Exactly. Exactly. Um, do you meditate?
I do. Probably not
You
as much as
do.
I need to. Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, I grew up in a very say I hate the word religious, right? Like, but I grew up in a very strong Southern Christian community. Let's just go
Yeah.
there with it. And so my faith is very important to me. And so yeah, I mean, I think that that's part of that balance is that
Yeah.
everybody can become a head case in so many ways. And it's whatever that is for you and whoever, it's like finding that thing that centers you, that humbles you, but also brings you back to a place of just being balanced and understanding that like the sky isn't falling and that,
Yeah.
making the highs not so high and the
Not
lows not so low.
getting sucked into like cable news. I mean, the
Right.
news has become like a 24-hour system, and I don't think it's very good. It's just like, is this making you happy, or is this
Yeah.
making you just be like everybody hates each other? It's
The
like,
the amount of fear, and because
yeah,
fear
yeah,
sells commercials. And so the amount
yeah,
of fear that is out there, because we have 24-hour news networks that have to hit certain numbers and things like that. Like it's, as a society, like that kind of stuff growing up. And that's one thing I'm sad about for my kids too, is just like, that this didn't exist. And
yeah.
it's
And that's why maybe AI can take that sting off of it. That
maybe.
somebody is going to have to, maybe it'll figure out, cures for like cancer or something like that we
Oh
would
yeah.
never have foreseen and been like, wow, that was there. For me, I do transcendental meditation. I kind of just discovered it, and it helps me. It's just like they give you a mantra, you just say it over and over again, and like you slowly just kind of fall into it. And there's no, I'll call my guy and be like, am I doing this right? He's like, there's no real wrong way to do this other than
Oh,
not doing
nice.
it.
Yeah.
So it's just like sitting there, letting it go. Probably after this, I'll go and meditate.
You need to
Uh,
after this.
oh yeah, oh, believe me, I'll be like, I'll be like, after doing this, I just like sit there and like can't do anything. This is
Have-
like, because I'm using like all side of, I'm like looking at
yeah.
this,
Yeah.
time, notes, everything. Did I cover everything?
Right.
All of it's going through that, while still trying to be like natural. I can't just be sitting there,
Right. Exactly.
so it's like acting on top of acting.
Have
um,
you ever heard of Wim Hof?
yes, I have.
Okay.
I bought the book. I just haven't gotten to read it
Nice.
yet. That's
Yeah.
something
So that's
I
more
want to
of
look
kind
at.
of the road that I've gone down a little bit,
The
is doing a
box
lot of the,
breathing. That's great.
yeah, doing the Wim Hof
Great
stuff, doing
stuff.
the cold showers and yeah,
Cold shower. See, I have to start the shower off hot, and then I'll
for
turn
sure.
it to cold.
Yes. I
Like
always
I'm not
throw
gonna
it in
just
there.
go in there and do a cold shower the whole. I'm like, this is awful.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I did
you
at
know?
first. I was gung ho, as you can tell by my personality. I was like,
Yeah.
yeah, man, I'm going cold shower all the
Yeah,
way.
it's like I
No,
hate
yeah.
showers.
Yeah.
It's
Exactly.
like I need to enjoy this a little bit, not
Yeah.
have to, the whole thing there. But yeah.
Yep.
What are you reading right now?
Mm, that's a good one. Let's see. I read a lot of business books because I like to read things that,
Same here.
aren't my strong suit, meaning
Hmm.
creative. I kind of own things I'm good at, but I feel like finding our blind spots, finding our weak links, those are great. And so one of my favorite business books that I've read a few
Yeah.
times is Blue Ocean Strategy. Um,
I've been hearing about that a lot. I need to read that
yeah,
book.
yeah, that one. And then, oh man, I'm blanking. Oh, I love these like coming out of nowhere questions, but it's so hard because I
Oh
blank
no,
and I
it's
go,
fine.
ah.
Believe
Uh,
me.
so Blue Ocean Strategy is one of my, yeah, Blue Ocean Strategy is one of my favorites. And then, so the other book that I like a whole lot on multiple levels is it's an author named Dan Ariely. He's a professor at Duke, or used to be, and it's called Predictably Irrational.
I've heard about that book.
Have you? Yeah,
I have.
it's a good read.
Did you ever read Atomic Habits by
I
James
have read,
Clear?
yeah, a while back.
That's an interesting book.
Yep, yep.
Makes you,
So
I like books like that that will give you that change that perspective. What about Blue Ocean Strategy you like? Because I've heard a lot about that book. Like,
so pretty much it's just a change of perception of
yeah,
the world, and it's the ability to be able to find the blue ocean where the sharks aren't. So the idea is where the sharks swim in the water, it's all red ocean. And
yeah,
the and that's where businesses go to just die a slow death because there's so much competition, there's so many things happening there. And those who can think just a little bit differently, keeping the
yeah.
same idea or whatever, you find the blue ocean. And so it's just a little bit of a guide to take you through trying to find that area. But it's helped me a whole lot in business when it comes to, and especially now when it comes to like AI and the technology that's driving. I think there's a huge chance for our generation to be able to benefit and profit and whatever off of those who are actually finding how do we use this stuff. Like
Yeah.
just because it exists
Yeah.
doesn't, it's those who will be able to, to make the
Yeah.
bridge that I think are going to have the most success
Yeah.
there.
We
So,
don't want it to just be, NFTs.
right, exactly.
Like there was a period where that's all anybody talked about. And it's like
Oh yeah,
NFT what?
yeah,
Who cares about it anymore? Because it's like,
yeah,
what is it, the SBF guy?
yeah, yeah, yeah. I think NFTs are wonderful from a utility standpoint, but for what it became for art, like
Yeah.
that was,
The
yeah,
the
you can
the
kind of see it
grumpy
coming.
ape. Grumpy ape. It's
Right.
like I got $100,000 doing grumpy. And it's like, if you seriously paid that much money for that stupid thing there, I'm sorry. What is
That's
wrong with you? What is
that.
wrong? What are you gonna do
Yeah,
with it? It's
yeah.
just my grumpy ape. Uh-huh. And
That's why I knew it
the
wasn't for me, man. Like when,
it's
because I love art and I was like, oh, this is
yeah.
great. I can own art, like digital art, until I saw what the art was that was making, millions of dollars. And I go, yeah, I'm good, man. Like
Yeah.
this 8-bit, whatever. I
It's
was
an
just like,
ape. It's an angry ape that looks like it is created on
yeah.
created with what's it called? Predictably irrational. What is that like a little bit about?
Behavioral science expert.
Hmm.
And so Dan Ariely takes you through different moments in which, takes you through different stories of things that have happened in the past that showcase how our brains work and how even if we fight it, a lot of times behavior is something that just happens and we are irrational beings
Yeah.
as a whole. And so it's great for advertising and marketing because you do fully understand a little bit more about how, because all advertising is manipulation of someone to buy a product or try something or
Yeah.
whatever it is, right? And so understanding a lot more about the psychology and the herd environment and things like that or whatever is important.
Yeah.
So, but I do believe like the way it was written, everything about it, it was a very solid read.
What are you listening to right now?
Mm, let's see. So I'm pretty simple when it comes to that. I used to listen to a lot of audiobooks, but I think because of the weight of business right now, it's
Mm.
one of those things where I like to veg out when I do my listening. So if
Yeah.
it's a quick trip back and forth from the office, I'm just listening to sports radio, like, entertainment for me, not entertainment for other people, right? When it comes to I used to listen to a lot of audiobooks, but now I like podcasts. And when it comes to podcasts, I like to keep them nice and loose. And so when it comes to
What about
podcasts,
music wise?
oh, music
Music wise.
wise, I
Yeah.
love everything across the board. I was a huge hip hop
Really?
head. Yeah, loved hip hop,
Really?
love rap. Yeah, so any '90s rap, I'm all about.
So
Um,
what hip hop artists do you like?
you mean nowadays?
I mean,
Oh, in
past
general?
and present. Yeah, yeah.
Oh yeah,
Who's your guy?
yeah. So I loved West Coast. So I loved Dre and Snoop and
Dre, yeah.
yeah, Tupac and all
NWA,
that.
yeah.
Yep, yep. So that was kind of dug that. But with the recent movie that came out in documentary, I always liked Wu Tang Clan, but
Yeah,
I really got a lot more into Wu Tang after watching that the show.
yeah,
Yeah, so a lot of that, but I mean, I was across the board. I appreciated most parts of music growing up and things
yeah,
like that. So switched to rock and alternative and then
yeah,
some classical and bluegrass and country. And
yeah.
so yeah, I'm
That's
I'm
the
kind of
same
a
thing with me. Like I like Nine Inch Nails, but I also love Taylor Swift.
nice. I
Like you
can't say
can't
I'm a
be any
Swifty
more.
yet, but
You
yeah,
can't be
yeah.
any different. Well, your kids probably will
That's
become.
right. That's right.
It's just like it's amazing to see how far she's come. I mean,
Yeah.
like I remember she's just a country singer, and now she's like, bringing $1 billion to the
Icon.
economy. You
Yeah.
know,
Absolute icon for
like
sure.
amazing.
Yep.
What are you watching now?
Oh, that's a good question. Actually, right now we are backtracking and watching Suits.
Suits.
Yeah.
A lot of people are jumping onto
Yeah.
Suits.
So I have it's one of those things where you have to hold things at a certain distance when it comes to storytelling.
Yeah.
And so I love like HBO programming and all these other TV
Mm,
series that just, nail it and knock it out of the park almost every time.
yeah.
And then when you go to network, it gets a little, it just has its
Yeah.
own flavor to it, right? But I think Suits did a
Yeah.
really good job of being network, but also being
Yeah.
grounded with some pretty decent writing when you think about it. Like it still has that network feel, which is always a
Yeah.
little to me, but the
Yeah.
as a whole, it's got great storylines through and through, and just I don't know, I like the arc that's happening on it, and so we're about season 3 of Suits, but yeah, all the
Yeah.
heavy, yeah,
What about Succession? Did you watch any of that?
love Succession, absolutely, yeah, we love
What
Succession,
did
love
you what did
Billions.
you you watch a billion?
Oh yeah,
You
no,
you you
I
watched this season?
no, I've not watched this season yet. Sadly, I do
Okay. All
understand
right.
something that happens, but yeah, um,
It's I mean, I'm glad they're ending it. It's
I think it's
there
made
are
its
only
run.
7 episodes. Because I feel like how many more times can you fire Chuck Rhodes and bring him back in and be like, he's gonna be fired, he's removed, he's this, that.
Yeah. Yeah. I think one place, because I think every series writers have to go through that because you don't
Oh yeah.
go too far away from what works, but then it can only work
Well,
so many times.
that's what I liked about Succession is they went with it was coming to its end. We've got to end it. And
Yeah,
even they how did you feel about Succession? Did you feel did were you satisfied with it?
I was. I think the acting was so tremendous in Succession.
Oh yeah.
And that's what drew, even when there were issues in script or plot or whatever, and they weren't that big to me personally. But man, yeah, when it came to it, just the delivery and the performances of those actors was amazing.
Yeah.
As an end, I don't know if there's a great ending to almost any TV series. I really want to think of one that I would go,
Breaking
that was
Breaking
it.
Bad.
That's probably the closest.
That's what I always go
That's
is I'm
probably the
like
closest. Yeah. Because
Game
most
of
of the time, if
Thrones. That was not a did you watch
maybe
Game
it's,
of Thrones?
yeah, maybe at the end of season 7.
That was very sad, wasn't it? We should have just
Yeah.
stopped at the when he broke the wall and been like,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
it.
The
The
idea
Night
that
King killed everybody.
they rushed that 8th season is
Oh, that's so bad.
travesty because it was such a good series.
When
Um,
they turned her into bad guy, like at the end, I'm like, really? We're
yeah.
gonna do this with 3 episodes left.
Right.
Like this
Oh, the
is where we're
pacing
going.
of 8 was the whole reason why it was so bad. Yeah.
Oh, it was
I
so
think
bad.
personally.
They
Yeah.
that and it was uh who could forget Bran the Broken? I'm like, yeah. I mean, like they needed like when they fought the Night King, like everyone thought like Bran was gonna have to do something, and it's like, no, he just gets snuck up behind and stabbed
Right.
once. I'm like, that's it. That's what you came up with. I'm like, it was so lame. Oh, so
Yeah.
sad.
Yeah.
Um. Anyways, thank you so much for doing this. This has been great.
Absolutely, Justin. This has been a blast,
This
man.
is
I really
this.
appreciate you inviting me on. Oh
All
man.
right, man. This is great.
Yeah, yeah. No, I really appreciate it. And yeah, man, thanks for the opportunity. Hopefully your listeners get a good idea of maybe a different industry that they hadn't really heard much
Yeah.
about.
How can people reach you?
So probably the best way is just creativechops.net or creativechops.com, either one of those. You can check out some of the videos and things we have on YouTube. And maybe next time we'll get into the viral video that happened to me on YouTube.
Oh, that happened too. Oh wow.
Have you seen that?
Oh, we didn't get. No, I haven't.
I can't believe I totally blanked on that. I mean, we talked about everything under the sun. All right, I'll try to
All
give you a
right.
setup where it's
Give me
easy
a
to,
little. Give me a little.
I'll give you a little taste. So the Doritos Super Bowl commercial I was talking about earlier, our main one, after it was all over, we didn't win. I just started putting things up on YouTube. And this is before
Yeah.
YouTube was massive or whatever. And it just sat there for years, dormant. And then one day, for whatever reason, I decided to go to my YouTube channel. And when I did, I realized that this thing had over 1 million views. And I was like, are you kidding me? Not only did it have over 1 million views, it had over like 15 million views. And it had all happened within about a week. And so I ended up, I did not have Google AdSense turned on. I didn't have any way to, monetize anything
Yeah.
like that. I'm just watching numbers blow up. And so I get
Yeah.
on Google, and long story short, I don't get the AdSense cut on for at least 2-3 months on that because Google was taking their time with it.
Mm.
And I have not gone back and checked in a while, but this Doritos commercial got push through WhatsApp across all different places like Iraq and where else? Indonesia and a whole lot of different countries. It
Yeah.
just came viral in these other countries. And I think part of it was we didn't do it on purpose. There's almost
Yeah.
no spoken word in it. It's mainly just action. And last I checked, it was over 170 million views on YouTube.
Uh, okay,
And
you need to promote that better. That needs to be known. You
right,
need to you need to sell
exactly,
that better. I had no
exactly.
idea about that.
Yeah, yeah, I know, right? So yeah, yeah. One of mine went crazy viral. So that's actually in the future. I'm hoping to take that and take the subscribers. We ended up pulling well over
Yeah.
150, 200,000 subscribers off of it. Not that those will translate to people who will watch the stuff I'm doing, but my plan is to build out a YouTube channel in the coming months and try to
Yeah.
give back a little bit education wise, have some fun with it, entertainment, and just talk about
Yeah.
short form story and things like that.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Well, if you
Yeah.
need, yeah. All right, man. Okay, that about does it for part 5 of my interview with Adam Franklin. I want to thank him personally. As always, you can find me at Justin Yachts. Please like, share, and subscribe, and consider checking out the YouTube channel. And I will see you next time on the DMF.